Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. You might be a descendant of Genghis Khan. In 2003, scientists conducted a study that revealed that about 16 million men worldwide share a common Y chromosome with Genghis Khan. This means that approximately 1 in 200 men is a direct descendant of this famous conqueror. Genghis Khan and his descendants left a significant genetic legacy across the vast regions he conquered. Although this study focuses on the paternal line, it shows just how intertwined history and genetics can be. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the sun. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt? And what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, "No camel kissing." And it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. Sperm whales, the loudest creatures on Earth. Sperm whales are underwater sound machines. They produce clicks and vocalizations that can reach up to 230 decibels. That's several times louder than a jet engine. These sounds help sperm whales communicate over vast distances and navigate the ocean depths. They use them like sonar to hunt giant squid at depths of over 1,000 meters. These clicks are so powerful that they can even stun their prey from a distance. Imagine if humans had similar abilities. We could communicate across entire oceans. Can it be true? Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia. Yes, it's no mistake. Camels, once brought to Australia from the Middle East for farming and transportation, are now being exported back to Saudi Arabia. Camels have thrived in Australia's environment, and their population has grown significantly. Now they are exported back to the Middle East, where they are used for similar purposes. Surprisingly, Australia is now a global leader in camel exports. Who would have thought that these desert animals would complete such a unique historical cycle? Brazil, the country with the greatest biodiversity. Brazil is home to 15 to 20% of all the world's biodiversity. It houses more than 120,000 species of invertebrates, about 9,000 species of vertebrates, and over 4,000 species of plants. Every year, around 700 new species of animals and plants are discovered in Brazil. This rich biodiversity is not only vital for ecology, but also holds immense potential for economic development and scientific discovery. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. Why can't ostriches walk backward? Despite their powerful legs, ostriches have one surprising limitation. They can't walk backward. Their joints and muscles are structured in a way that prevents them from moving in reverse. But these birds can reach speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour, making them excellent runners capable of escaping danger in record time. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Yoro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong waterspouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. Did you know that the oldest tattoo is over 5,000 years old? In 1991, archaeologists discovered a mummy known as Ötzi in the Alps. Ötzi is around 5,300 years old, and on his body they found 61 tattoos, mostly lines and crosses. These tattoos may have been used to relieve pain, as they are located near acupuncture points. It's fascinating to think that ancient civilizations used tattoos not just for decoration, but also for healing purposes. Believe it or not, licking your elbow is almost impossible. Have you ever tried to lick your elbow? Despite all attempts, most people simply can't do it. The reason lies in anatomy. The length of the arm and the position of the elbow make it impossible for the tongue to reach that point. Of course, there are rare exceptions. People with extraordinary flexibility might surprise their friends by succeeding. But for most of us, it's physically impossible, no matter how hard you try. This fun fact is the perfect opportunity to test your abilities and see if you're anatomically unique. But be careful not to hurt yourself in the process. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Can you imagine that the world's largest Ferris wheel can hold over 1,000 passengers? In Las Vegas, USA, stands the giant Ferris wheel known as High Roller. This massive wheel has a diameter of 167 meters and can hold up to 1,120 passengers in 28 spacious cabins. The ride takes about 30 minutes, giving riders breathtaking views of the city. The High Roller is not just an amusement ride, but a symbol of the grandeur of Las Vegas. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Did you know Yellowstone is the world's first national park? Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, was the first national park in the world, Located mostly in Wyoming, USA, it is a true natural wonder. The park is famous for its geysers, hot springs and wildlife, and it sits atop a massive volcanic caldera. This makes it not only a beautiful but geologically unique place on the planet. Yellowstone is Mother Nature's masterpiece, attracting millions of visitors each year. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders and revolutions. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous Queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. Incredible but true. The Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the length some creatures will go to survive. It turns out that fireflies can control the brightness of their glow. The fireflies we marvel at on summer evenings actually have the ability to adjust the intensity of their light. This is due to a chemical reaction in their bodies that uses a substance called luciferin. They can change the brightness of their glow depending on whether they are attracting a mate or warding off predators. Imagine how useful it would be to not only have a built-in lamp, but to control its brightness. Can you believe it? Cows have best friends. Cows, beyond being valuable farm animals, are incredibly social creatures with rich emotional lives. They can form strong friendships with other cows, and if separated from their best friends, they can become stressed. Cows often spend time together, graze in pairs, and express their emotions through unique vocalizations. Their social bonds highlight that cows are not just animals providing milk, but they have their own emotional worlds that deserve recognition. The secret of the Great Wall of China: sticky rice. The Great Wall of China is one of the most impressive structures in the world, but did you know that its durability is thanks to sticky rice? Ancient builders used a mortar mixture containing this rice to bind the stones together. This unexpected culinary ingredient played a key role in strengthening one of the world's greatest wonders. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a kitchen ingredient helped build such a monumental structure. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting. signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? Do you think hot water freezes faster than cold? It is a common misconception. Although it sometimes seems like hot water freezes faster, cold water usually freezes faster under most circumstances. This is because cold water is already closer to the freezing point. However, there is a mysterious phenomenon known as the Mpemba effect, which sometimes causes hot water to freeze faster. Scientists are still debating how exactly this effect works, and its mechanisms remain a mystery. But if you need ice quickly, it is better to start with cold water. Did you know that the Kuwaiti dinar is the most valuable currency in the world? The Kuwaiti dinar, KWD, holds the title as the highest valued currency in the world. Despite Kuwait not having the largest economy, its currency's unique exchange rate gives it incredible worth. One Kuwaiti dinar is equivalent to about $3.30, making it one of the most valuable currencies globally. This means that even a small amount of Kuwaiti dinars can be worth a lot when exchanged for other currencies. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50 yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, and it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. Did you know that honey can last forever? Honey is one of the few natural products that practically never spoils and can remain edible for thousands of years. Archaeologists discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old, and the honey was still edible. The secret to this longevity lies in honey's unique chemical composition. It contains very little water and has high acidity, which creates an environment where bacteria and mold can't thrive. This natural preservative ensures honey's everlasting freshness, making it a wonder of nature that can remain delicious and usable for centuries. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Have you ever thought about how whales sing underwater? Whales produce sounds that can be heard hundreds of kilometers away underwater. These sounds help them communicate and find mates, even across vast distances. Whale songs can last for hours, and each one is unique, like a fingerprint. These songs change over the years, making them not just a means of communication, but also a form of cultural heritage passed down through generations. Why does an entire sea freeze in Canada? In Hudson Bay, winter temperatures can drop so low that the sea completely freezes, turning it into a giant ice desert. The ice here is so thick that even vehicles can travel across it. In winter, Locals use it as a road, creating temporary routes directly on the sea's surface. This icy highway becomes vital for those living in the remote areas of northern Canada. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days, from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. Did you know the world's smallest horse weighs less than a dog? Thumbelina, the world's smallest horse, stands at just 43 centimeters tall and weighs only 26 kilograms. Born in 2001 with a genetic condition causing dwarfism, Thumbelina may be tiny, but she has a big heart. She works as a therapy animal, bringing joy to children and the elderly with her adorable presence. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away. Bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Can you imagine that 1 billion seconds equals 32 years? If you calculate, 1 billion seconds equals approximately 31 years, 8 months, and 8 days. It's an example of how easy it is to get lost in the measurement of time when it is expressed in such large numbers. For comparison, in that period, a child could grow up, become an adult, and graduate from university. Time moves quietly, and realizing that 1 billion seconds covers such a long span of life makes you think about its value and fleeting nature. Did you know that crocodiles can digest metal objects? A crocodile's stomach is a powerhouse of digestion. It produces one of the strongest acids in the animal kingdom, capable of breaking down bones and even metal. This trait is especially handy when crocodiles swallow stones to regulate their weight or accidentally ingest metal objects like fishing hooks or nails. This incredible digestive power ensures that they can thrive in the wild by consuming almost anything that comes their way. So, if a crocodile accidentally swallows something metal, it has no problem making a meal out of it. It's hard to believe, but it rains diamonds on Saturn. Researchers believe that lightning storms in Saturn's atmosphere turn methane into carbon, which then crystallizes into diamonds. These diamond drops can reach several centimeters in size and, as they fall from great heights, turn into graphite. Thus, on Saturn, you can witness a rain of precious stones. At such depths and under high pressure, they turn back into carbon. But the very idea of this phenomenon is breathtaking. Who knew? A group of pugs is called a grumble. Pugs are already beloved for their cute and quirky personalities, but did you know that a group of pugs is called a grumble? This charming term perfectly suits their adorable and sometimes noisy nature. When several pugs gather, it's a delightful sight and sound. A small grumble of little doggy characters, bringing joy and humor to any scene. Why do leaves turn red and yellow in the fall? When autumn comes, trees turn off photosynthesis. During this process, the green pigment chlorophyll breaks down, and other pigments, carotenoids and anthocyanins, reveal themselves in yellow and red hues. It's like nature putting on a colorful show. Interestingly, the cooler and sunnier the autumn, the brighter these colors will be. Have you ever realized that this is nature's magical performance happening right before your eyes? Apple. the richest company in the world. As of January 2024, Apple reached a market capitalization of $2,890 billion. This makes it the most valuable company in the world, surpassing giants like Microsoft and Saudi Aramco. Apple continues to surprise the world with its innovations, shaping the future of technology and influencing the global economy. Every new Apple product creates a frenzy, and its impact on the modern world is hard to overstate. It's amazing how one company can have such a huge influence on millions of lives. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the Crooked Forest, near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories, from human intervention to natural anomalies. The Crooked Forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like. Invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance, but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds, it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. It's amazing, but the platypus is one of the strangest creatures on Earth. This incredible Australian animal, which looks like a mix of different creatures, has baffled scientists for centuries. The platypus lays eggs, produces milk for its young, and has venomous spurs on its hind legs. This combination of traits makes it one of the most unique mammals on the planet. Despite its odd characteristics, the platypus has lived on Earth for millions of years and remains a symbol of nature's mysteries and evolution. Did you know that lobsters live a long time, but they're not immortal? Contrary to popular belief, lobsters are not biologically immortal, but they do possess a fascinating secret, an enzyme called telomerase that helps repair their cells. This enzyme allows lobsters to keep reproducing DNA and regenerating cells, which contributes to their seemingly endless longevity. This remarkable ability has given rise to the myth of the immortal lobster. However, while lobsters can live for decades, they still eventually age. It's a fascinating glimpse into nature's strategies for longevity. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Peanuts aren't nuts, they're legumes. You might be surprised to learn that, botanically speaking, peanuts aren't actually nuts. Peanuts belong to the legume family, like peas, beans, and lentils. Unlike true nuts, such as walnuts and almonds, peanuts grow underground and don't have a hard shell enclosing a single seed. A nut, in botanical terms, is a dry fruit with a hard shell, but peanuts don't fit that definition. Even though we often think of them as nuts, they're technically closer to peas and beans, but with a unique taste all their own. Is it possible? Paper can be stronger than steel. Special technologies can create what is known as paper armor, which, when treated properly, becomes stronger than steel. For example, Japanese washi paper, used in some bulletproof vests, can withstand impacts that ordinary paper couldn't handle. This paper is treated with resins and layered, making it incredibly durable. Amazingly, paper can be used for protection just like metal, thanks to these technologies. Why do different countries have different sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. How did London almost start growing pineapples in the middle of winter? In the 17th century, the English wanted pineapples so much that they started building special greenhouses to grow them. These greenhouses, called pineapple houses, were heated with coal, and it could take up to 2 years to grow a single pineapple. Considering that pineapples were a true rarity back then, they were given as royal gifts, symbolizing luxury and status. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds, prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. Believe it or not, the world's smallest volcano is just 13 meters high. The smallest volcano in the world is called Quexcomate, located in Puebla, Mexico. This tiny volcano stands only 13 meters tall and has a width of 8 meters, making it quite miniature compared to others. It was formed in 1064 due to an eruption from the nearby Popocatépetl volcano. While Quexcomate is classified as dormant, it sometimes releases steam and sulfur gases, reminding visitors of its volcanic nature. Fun fact, you can actually climb this volcano, making it a perfect adventure for those looking to scale a pint-sized peak. Why does Japan have an island inhabited only by rabbits? On Okunoshima, known as Rabbit Island, hundreds of fluffy bunnies roam freely, feeling like the rightful rulers of the place. Originally, rabbits were brought here for scientific experiments during World War II. After the war ended, they were released, and their population grew rapidly. Now, tourists from all over the world come to play and feed these friendly animals. Cats and dogs are prohibited on the island to protect the rabbit population, turning it into a true paradise for animal lovers. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. Who would have thought that clouds can weigh millions of tons? Despite their light and airy appearance, clouds actually have massive weight. 1 cubic meter of cloud contains about half a gram of water. Considering that a typical cumulus cloud can have a volume of over 1 billion cubic meters, its mass can reach 500,000 tons. That's about the same as 400,000 cars. Imagine tons of water floating above you. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. How do you think chickens can sleep with their eyes open? Chickens have a unique ability called unihemispheric sleep, where one hemisphere of their brain can enter deep sleep while the other remains alert. This allows them to keep one eye open, monitoring their surroundings while the other half of their brain rests. This ability is crucial for their survival in the wild, where danger can strike at any moment. Imagine being able to nap while keeping a watchful eye out for predators. Chickens are true natural guards. It's a skill that makes them well adapted to a life full of surprises. Did you know that the pale blue dot is a photo of Earth taken from 6 billion kilometers away? This iconic image of our planet was captured by the Voyager 1 spacecraft in 1990 from a distance of 3.7 billion miles, or 6 billion kilometers. In the photo, Earth appears as a tiny, barely visible dot in the vast expanse of space. It reminds us of how small and vulnerable our planet is in the grand scale of the universe, prompting reflection on our place in the world. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Who would have thought that electricity could be transmitted through the air? Scientists are already developing wireless energy transmission technologies. The basic principle is transmitting power using magnetic fields or lasers. In the future, charging mobile devices or even cars could happen without wires. This will change how we think about electronics and transportation. Tesla dreamed of wireless power back in the early 20th century, and now his ideas are becoming a reality. Our genome, 3.2 billion pairs of DNA, and they are all key to our uniqueness. Imagine that your entire uniqueness is encoded in a sequence of 3.2 billion pairs of DNA bases. That's how many pairs make up the human genome. This genetic code determines everything from the color of your eyes to your predisposition to certain diseases. Each of us is the result of a combination of these pairs, which are passed down from generation to generation. Despite all the complexity and amount of information, our genome is incredibly well organized. It's like an instruction manual for assembling our body, holding the secrets of our health, appearance, and even personality. Why is Mauna Kea volcano 10 times taller than Everest? Mauna Kea on Hawaii is not just a volcano, but a towering structure that extends deep below the ocean's surface. Its above-water section is over 4,000 meters tall, but its underwater slopes stretch even further. Taking the full height of Mauna Kea from base to summit, it measures over 10,000 meters, making it far taller than Everest. Though its peak is hidden underwater, Mauna Kea is one of the tallest mountains on Earth. Did you know plastic bags can take centuries to decompose? The plastic bags we use every day can take up to several hundred years to decompose, or even longer. Unlike organic materials, plastic doesn't easily break down because it's not part of nature's cycle. Over time, it degrades into smaller pieces known as microplastics, but this process takes decades. This poses a serious environmental problem, highlighting the need to rethink how we use and dispose of plastic in our daily lives. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims. Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Have you ever wondered if elephants can get hangovers? In Africa, elephants love the fruits of the marula tree, which, when overripe, ferment and become alcoholic. Elephants can eat up to 20 kilograms of these fruits at once, sometimes causing a mild alcoholic effect. It has been observed that after such feasts, elephants become more sluggish and even prefer to rest. Some scientists claim that this phenomenon is similar to a hangover in humans, and perhaps that's why elephants occasionally avoid marula. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't grey as it is today, but instead, it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away and the tower became grey due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye, but if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Penguins propose with pebbles. Adelie penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. The slowest musical composition will last 639 years. In 2001, a group of musicians began playing John Cage's piece called As Slow as Possible. This unique performance is set to last 639 years and will finish only in 2640. Just think. Several generations of people will listen to the same musical piece, hearing only slight changes in melody each year. This is the longest musical performance in human history. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Why do you think lightning can strike the same place multiple times? Contrary to popular belief, lightning can strike the same place multiple times. For example, the Empire State Building in New York is hit by up to 100 lightning bolts every year. This happens because tall buildings and structures attract electric discharges. The tops of these buildings are equipped with lightning rods to protect them from strikes, making multiple lightning strikes not just possible, but common. Can you imagine that some flowers eat mice? This isn't science fiction, it's reality. There are carnivorous plants, such as the nepenthes or pitcher plants, that can trap and digest not only insects, but also small animals like mice. These plants secrete sweet nectar to lure their prey, and once the animal falls into the pitcher, it can't escape. The plant world is far more cunning and mysterious than it seems. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, These stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints, or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance, and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. Did you know that in Iceland, there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights. Did you know that monarch butterflies undertake one of the longest migrations on Earth? These amazing insects travel thousands of kilometers each year, migrating from Mexico to the United States and Canada. What's even more incredible is that this journey takes place over several generations. Monarch butterflies begin their migration, lay eggs, and the next generation continues the journey. This incredible relay across generations transforms their migration into a dance that transcends borders, a true wonder of nature. Hyundai logo. What do the shaking hands hide? Have you ever wondered what the Hyundai logo means? It's not just an H on an oval background. If you look closely, you'll notice that the logo resembles two people shaking hands. This symbol represents Hyundai's commitment to building trusting relationships between the company and its customers. The oval surrounding the letter symbolizes the brand's global ambitions, while the handshake is a sign of successful cooperation. Since its inception, Hyundai has emphasized quality, reliability, and customer satisfaction, and their logo reflects this philosophy. So the next time you see a Hyundai car on the road, remember that the symbol is more than just a logo. It's a story of trust and partnership. How did jellyfish learn the secret of immortality? In the deep ocean lives the jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii, known as the immortal jellyfish. Unlike other creatures, this jellyfish can revert to its juvenile state, effectively rewinding time. If it ages or suffers injury, it simply regenerates, starting its life cycle over. This process is called transdifferentiation. Scientists believe that the jellyfish's genetic mechanisms may one day help humans extend their lives. Studying the immortal jellyfish not only captivates us, but also opens the door to discovering the secrets of eternal youth. Snails can sleep for up to 3 years. In the slow-moving world of creatures, snails are the undeniable champions. They have the astonishing ability to hibernate for up to 3 years. For some, it's not laziness, but rather an enviable skill of endurance and patience. You can only imagine the slow-paced dreams they must have over the years. And here we thought our weekend naps were impressive. Don't ever challenge a snail to a sleep-off. You're bound to lose in the most hilarious way possible. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Vatican City, the smallest country in the world. Vatican City is an independent city-state located within Rome, Italy, and it covers an area of just about 0.49 square kilometers, making it the smallest country in the world. Despite its modest size, the Vatican is a significant center of the Catholic Church and home to many renowned historical sites, like St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel. Its population is around 800 people, making it not only the smallest by area, but also one of the least populated states in the world. The surprising trend in Japan: pets preferred over children. Imagine this. In Japan, there are now more pets than children. This surprising fact highlights modern social trends. More and more Japanese people are choosing to have pets instead of children. Statistics show that the number of pets in Japan exceeds the number of children under the age of 15. This is due to many factors, such as the high costs of raising children, career ambitions, and limited housing space. Pets require less time and resources, but still bring joy and a sense of care. This trend reflects global changes in the perception of family life and values in different countries around the world. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild, yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Why do seahorses dance before mating? Seahorses perform entire rituals, dancing with their partners to form a special bond before raising offspring. These dances can last for hours, and during them, pairs swim in sync, change colors, and even hold each other by the tails. It's not just a dance, it's a true expression of affection that helps strengthen the bond between partners. In the underwater world, these dances surprise with their grace and tenderness. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. What do cats purr for, really? We often think cats only purr when they're happy, but they actually use purring as a self-healing mechanism. The sound frequency of about 25 Hz helps cats speed up bone and tissue healing. It's a biological feature that not only relaxes them, but also promotes health. So when your cat purrs, it's not just showing contentment, it's also caring for its well-being. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. How do you think the famous alien footsteps sound was made? One of the most memorable sounds in film is the footsteps of the alien from the iconic movie E.T. But how was it created? The answer will surprise you. This unique sound was made using regular jelly. Sound designers simply squished their hands in jelly to imitate the sticky footsteps of the alien. This fact showcases the brilliance and creativity of sound engineers who turn everyday items into amazing sound effects. Now, the next time you watch the movie, you won't be able to hear the alien's footsteps without a smile, knowing their jelly origin. Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years, during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 0.068% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. You probably didn't know that corals are animals, not plants. Corals may look like lifeless, stationary organisms, but they are living creatures belonging to the Cnidarian family. They consist of tiny beings called polyps that feed on microscopic plankton. Polyps group together in colonies to form coral reefs, creating one of the most diverse and complex ecosystems on Earth. Despite their simplicity, corals play a crucial role in sustaining marine biodiversity, and their disappearance could alter ocean ecosystems for millennia. Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple, but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things, like soap bubbles. Can you imagine that it rains diamonds on Neptune? It sounds like science fiction, but scientists are convinced that Neptune experiences diamond rain. Due to the immense pressure and extreme temperatures, methane in Neptune's atmosphere transforms into diamonds that literally fall from the sky. Imagine a world where precious jewels are as common as raindrops, a luxurious storm that any jeweler would dream of witnessing. Owls don't just see, they mesmerize. Owls don't have typical eyeballs. Instead, they have specialized tubular eyes. This unique adaptation allows them to keep their eyes fixed, giving them exceptional binocular vision and the ability to rotate their heads almost 270 degrees. Thanks to this, owls become masters of nighttime hunting, detecting even the slightest movements in complete darkness. Their eyes are more than just organs of sight. They are powerful tools that make them incredible hunters, and every time they turn their heads, it's like witnessing nature's magic in action. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Did you know the term Internet was first used in 1974? We all know the Internet is an essential part of modern life, But did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, Internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the Internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the Internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Organic food. Truth or myth about its benefits? Research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most, taste or caring for the planet. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours, that's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? How long do you think the world's longest tongue is? British artist Nick Stobel holds the title for the world's longest tongue. His tongue measures an impressive 10.1 centimeters, just under 4 inches. Nick can perform amazing tricks with his tongue. He can lick his nose, elbow, and even his own eye. He has also turned his unique talent into an art form, using his tongue to paint portraits. Nick covers his tongue in paint and makes strokes on canvas, creating truly unusual pieces of art. Talk about extraordinary skills. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Did you know there's a fort made entirely of coral? Fort Jefferson, located on dry Tortugas Island in Florida, is one of the largest structures made of coral blocks. Construction began in 1846 and continued for more than 30 years. This fort served as an important strategic defense point for the U.S. coastline, but it's also famous for being built almost entirely out of coral reefs. Now it's a national park and a popular tourist attraction. Jellyfish, ancient survivors of 5 mass extinctions. Can you believe that jellyfish have existed on our planet for more than 600 million years and have survived 5 mass extinctions? These ancient creatures started their existence long before the dinosaurs and have adapted to the most extreme changes in climate and environment. They have no brains, hearts, or bones, yet they continue to thrive due to their ability to adapt and survive under any conditions. Jellyfish are considered some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, and they continue to amaze scientists with their unique biology. Imagine how incredible nature is, given that these creatures have endured millions of years of evolution. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night, when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Amazingly, oysters can change their gender. Oysters possess an incredible ability to change gender based on their needs. Throughout their lives, they may become male or female multiple times, helping them adapt to their environment and reproduce more effectively. This flexibility is crucial in habitats with varying population dynamics, where these changes can greatly influence survival. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Zi Quping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Galileo didn't invent the telescope. Many people believe that Galileo Galilei invented the telescope, but in reality, he improved upon an existing design. The first telescope was actually created by a Dutch spectacle maker named Hans Lippershey in 1608. Galileo made enhancements to this design and used the telescope for astronomical observations, discovering phenomena such as lunar mountains and Jupiter's moons. His contributions to science are invaluable, but it's important to remember that great discoveries often build upon the work of those who came before. Did you know penguins can drink seawater? Penguins are true survival experts in the ocean. Unlike many other animals, they can drink seawater without any problem. How do they do it? It's all thanks to a special gland above their eyes that filters out the salt from the water. This natural filter allows penguins to use ocean water for hydration, turning it into drinkable water. Imagine, penguins drink salt water as if it were a refreshing drink, while other animals have to search for fresh water. Their unique ability to drink seawater is yet another example of how ingenious nature can be. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that looked like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work.